Hi everybody, how are you? I hope you're having a good day, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is for you. Today I'm going to make some bread. I ran out of bread. I always make my own bread. So I decided to just put it on video, how I make bread. And I'll tell you that I got this bread recipe from Ian Y Gath, and I'll put his channel in the description. If you haven't seen him, go there and watch him. He's got some great recipes. He tells awesome stories. He's just an all-around good person, and we've been friends through YouTube for a few years now, so go visit his channel. But back to making bread. This will just be a real quick one. This is my recipe book. Call it Grandma's. I always try out new recipes, and if I like them, they go in that book. So anyway, this is one of Ian's, and I use it all the time. It's very easy. If you have a bread making machine, it is so easy. It's unbelievable. And it beats the heck out of, as I'm getting older, I think I'm getting lazy. So I don't want to stand and knead the bread and let it rise and punch it down and, all the stuff that you usually do. And I will do that occasionally, but not so much anymore since I got this bread maker. This is an oyster bread maker. It has all the different dials on it and stuff like that where you can set it to, you can make French bread, you can make bagel dough, you can even make jam in here. And whole wheat French bread, sweet bread, and what I usually do is just the basic white for my everyday use. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you how the recipe goes. It's really easy, you guys, and right up my alley. First of all, you want to take 1 1/8 cups of water, and always put the water in first. And I just dump it in my little bucket there. And this has a really, I don't know if I showed you this, it's got a neat little bucket. And this is what the bread bakes in and mixes in. It's really cool. So I just put that back in there. It snaps into some little holder clips at the bottom. Make sure that's in there nice and tight. And then I put in 3 cups of white flour. And you just dump it in. And make a mess. I'm really good at that. I'm the messiest baker and cook you have ever seen. I use every dish and every pan when I'm baking or cooking. It's just ridiculous. So there you go, the flour. And then you want to put 1 teaspoon of salt. And you want to take the salt and put it around the edges of the flour, which you don't have to. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but that's what was on my recipe. Then you put in 2 tablespoons of sugar, of white granulated sugar. Okay, 2 tablespoons, I'm sorry, 2 tablespoons. Dump it in. And 2 tablespoons of powdered milk. And I always have powdered milk around because I'm a prepper. So that's always in my storage. So we'll take 2 tablespoons. Oh, got to take out the little packet. So 2 tablespoons. And I'm spilling. I told you I'm a messy baker. Okay, 2 tablespoons of powdered milk. And 1 egg. And this is a big egg. I have a duck who lays eggs, and I have chickens. And I eat and use the duck eggs just like I do my chicken eggs, and they're good. I really can't tell any difference. And they're nice big eggs for baking. So I use my duck egg when I'm baking. So I'm going to put this in here. here we go. 1 egg. Duck eggs have really nice, super thick shells on them. I mean, this is like a really heavy-duty shell. And I keep my shells, my egg shells, my duck egg and my chicken egg shells, and I wash them out with soap and water, get them all nice and clean and rinsed, and I let them dry out, and then I put them in a little coffee blender, and I blend them up real fine and use them for calcium in my plant food for my garden outside and inside. Okay, so we got that done. And a package of yeast, making a mess again. Okay, I spilled my yeast. Good grief. My daughter bought me, when things were, for a while we went through, and I'm out in the middle of the desert in Nevada, and we went through a period of time early on when this COVID thing started, ridiculous COVID thing started. And you know how you couldn't find toilet paper and that kind of stuff? Well, we couldn't find baking goods. And so on Facebook, I'm not on Facebook, but my daughter is. She found a lady that I guess had ordered a whole case of 1 pound bags of baking yeast. Well, you can use 1 pound bag of the loose baking yeast, and I'll show you what it looks like here. See, it's just like granules. And you can use that for a 1 pound bag for months. And this lady had a whole case of it. So rather than have it just sit around and go bad or whatever, she started selling it on Facebook, and my daughter picked up a bag for me because I couldn't find yeast anywhere. So I'm still using that, and it's been several months, and I still have probably 2/3 of a bag left because I only use it like a tablespoon at a time. So you need 1 tablespoon of yeast, or 1 packet if you have buy the packets, and you just dump it in there. Okay, and then you need 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And it doesn't, I mean, everybody has their own favorite brand. I'm just lucky to find it, so I just grab whatever brand I can get my hands on. Because a lot of times the baking stuff isn't real available out this way, so whatever is available, that's what I buy. So we want 2 tablespoons of the baking yeast. I'm baking olive oil. We want olive oil. Okay. And there we go. Put these in the sink. Put the cap back on there. Try to keep my mess consolidated. Okay, and there's my sugar. Oops, nope, that's not sugar. Okay. And then Ian just dumps his in, and he doesn't stir it or do anything like that. I break the egg yolk and kind of stir everything around a little bit, only because I find that in my bread maker, if I don't kind of give it a little bit of a stir, then it kind of tends to want to stick on one side and not everything gets mixed properly. So I stir it up, and it doesn't hurt anything. I stir it up all the time, and I still get great bread. Okay, wipe my hands off here. All right then. Then, after you get all your ingredients in, you simply shut your lid, and you have it set. You can set it, you know, you have bread makers, I'm sure, and just set it for whatever you want it to be. I'm setting it for basic white bread, and I like it medium crust, medium brown. I don't like it real super light where, you know, it's a really thin crust, and I don't like it in the heavy crust where it's real thick. That's more like for sourdough or something. So I put it on medium, and that's the way I like my bread, just medium, you know, have a medium crust. So it's nice and brown, but it's not like thick crust. And then I just put start, and there it goes. And it kneads it, and of course you all know how it works. I mean, it gets kneaded and rise and everything. And 3 hours from now, I will have a loaf of bread. And that's how you do it. But that is Ian Y Gath's recipe. I have used it ever since I have seen him do it on his channel. So he's got fantastic recipes. He really does. This thing's gonna get real noisy here in a minute. So, because it goes, you know how it does. So it's just mixing right now. So we'll come back when it's finished, and I'll show you what the bread looks like when I get it out. Every time it turns out the same, and I use the same recipe. It tastes good. It's a nice white bread, and maybe someday I'll mess with some of the other settings, but for now I just like the white bread. I don't like to buy the box breads that you can buy them in the store, and they're easier. They're already mixed up. You dump some water in there and the bread box mix, and there you go. But I like using my own ingredients because I use fresh ingredients. I prefer it that way, and I know what's going in the bread. I don't know what's in the box breads, you know, what kind of conservatives or I'm a conservative. Preservative. Oh my gosh. What kind of preservatives are in the boxes? So I just like all fresh, everything fresh. So, but that's just me. So I make my own bread. I never buy bread, hardly ever, unless I suddenly get company and I'm out of bread and I need to, you know, suddenly get some. But I make my own bread all the time, and you can put it in the freezer and keep it until you want it for future dates, or you can just, I use a loaf of bread. It might take me 2-3 days to use a whole loaf of bread because it's not a huge loaf, but I do like my egg salad sandwiches and tuna fish and that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is the way I make my bread. I just wanted to share it with you because I needed another loaf of bread, and I thought, what the heck, I'll just show you the recipe. And thank you to Ian Y Gath. This is his recipe, and it works for me every time. I love it. So thank you, Ian. So we'll talk to you guys later. I'll see you in about 3 hours, and I'll show you what my bread turned out to be like. Okay, here is my bread. It's all cooked, ready to eat. Just got it out of the bread maker. I'm going to let it cool for just a moment, and then I'm going to dig in and have some of that nice fresh hot bread. So we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day, good night, good evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.